Hello and welcome to Skype Academy Presents the Auto Attendant. I'm Cornel Bullens. I'm a Senior Program Manager within the Customer Experience and Deployment team for Skype for Business. So, some of the key learnings for today. The Auto Attendant is for Skype for Business Online only. Auto Attendant is most typically used to be a virtual receptionist. It does require Cloud PBX licensed users. It can be used to channel calls to a group or to an individual of those Cloud PBX licensed users. It can route to the users homed in Skype for Business Online that are licensed for Cloud PBX. PSN calling is optional, and additional scenarios will be released while we mature the product further. The agenda for today, we'll do a quick introduction on Auto Attendants, then how to deploy, how to operate, and we end with how to migrate. Bit of a disclaimer about the training. This is a point of time view. We recorded this in August 2017. The features and functionality described, they are current as of this date. But note that Office 365 is ongoing innovation. So we innovate on a constant basis. For those that have consumed some of the training before, you will notice a nice blue updated bar. Those are new features that we've released since general availability, and you can find a little bit more about that at aka.ms/aacq-update. So, an introduction. So why would you be using an Auto Attendant? So the Auto Attendant provides an interactive virtual receptionist, and you can relieve operators for simple chores. If you have a lot of people calling in asking for the sales department, this can be done by a virtual receptionist and having that person focus on more important things. It does sort the incoming calls, so you know which calls do require human interaction and which ones can be routed automatically, and it can definitely make your company more friendly. If you get redirected to the right department immediately, that's a lot better than having to wait for hours and hours just to be moved to a different line. So what do they do? So an Auto Attendant, as we said, it provides an automated interactive system for incoming calls. So let's talk about the picture first. So basically you would have an incoming call, and this is your mainline number, and we define this as a service number. And then this mainline number can ask you simple questions. It can give you an interactive menu like press 1 for sales, press 2 for services. You can also say a name, and it can transfer you to that person like John Smith, or it can forward you to an operator. It does accept DTMF and speech input, and you can do a directory search based on your search scope, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later on. It can play different greetings and menu prompts for after hours, and it can interact with call queues, other Auto Attendants, users, or directly to voicemail. So what's the experience for me calling an Auto Attendant? So during business hours, it's something like, hey, welcome to Contoso, which is a configurable greeting. Please type or say the name of the person that you're trying to reach, followed by the pound key. Then outside of business hours, you could hear something like, welcome to Contoso, we're currently closed, please leave a voicemail. Speech is configurable, so you can use text to speech or upload your own files. You can use DTMF or you can use speech. That operator that you can route to, it could be a Cloud PBX enabled user, a call queue, an Auto Attendant, or voicemail. So how does this look like dial by name with DTMF? So you get in to reach your party by name, press the corresponding number keys to enter part or full name. Use 0 to indicate space. When finished, press the pound key. So this person comes in, types in Ben, then pound. Found too many people with similar names. Okay, you have to be more specific. Ben space Joe, and then it gives you a number of options. You must terminate your input with pound key, and that's not configurable. If you try this for 3 times, doesn't work, you get redirected to the operator. So with speech recognition, it would basically go something like, hey, to reach your party by name, say it now, or press the corresponding number of keys. You can always do DTMF. When you're done talking, it knows, okay, I'm going to search for this now. VoiceQuant does support back, repeat. There will be up to 5 matches returns, and if you still can't find the person after 3 tries, it redirects you to the operator. We do have multi-level menu options. So you can have a sales queue, and below the sales queue, you can have a parking queue. You can have within services, you can have multiple queues. And then for the directory search, you once again can have multiple options. So you can make this super elaborate if that's needed. So dial by name, who can be reached? So the user has to be a Skype for Business Online user. If you're running hybrid and those users are on-prem, it doesn't work. They can be homed in any of the tenant's regions. There's no PSTN calling license required, no PSTN number, no enterprise voice. These users simply need to have a Cloud PBX license. So who cannot be reached? Well, on-prem users, users that have Cloud PBX with on-premises connectivity via hybrid or CCE, or external PSTN numbers. So a dial scope basically limits the amount of people you can find. So you might want to have a dial scope that doesn't have the CEO in it. We don't want people calling Microsoft and then ask them, hey, can I speak to Satya, please? And then be redirected. So a dial scope can be configured to narrow down the reach of dial by name. You can search only within a certain group of people or search everywhere except a certain group. And this way you can exclude certain people from directory search. You can use distribution groups, security groups, or, and we've recently added that, Office 365 groups. So the search options, I'll just leave them here. The different options, we talked a little bit about this. So there are some limitations with dial by name. It used to be 50K. We've now updated this to 80K users. So as soon as you have more than 80,000 users in your Azure Active Directory, you'll automatically get a prompt that says, oh, I'm sorry, name recognition is not currently possible. Please use your keyboard to enter a name. It does fall back to DTMF. The speech recognition is available in other scenarios, such as I want Q0 or 1. The voice commands are available. And the admins are already notified that the voice name search is not available. So if you have too many users, you'll know. So an operator, it's an optional part, but we do recommend to have an operator. What does it do? It's basically your fallback guy. So who can be an operator? Any online Skype for Business user with a Cloud PBX license. It can be a PSTN number. It can be a call queue or a voicemail. We also updated the fact that an operator can not only use the Windows client, but it could also use a Mac client, an iPhone or an iPad or an Android. So and who cannot be an operator? If you're an on-premise user, if you have Cloud PBX with on-premises PSN connectivity via existing pool or Cloud Connector Edition, or if you're an on-premise object, such as a response group, service group. So the languages, you do have to realize that every auto attendant can have one language. So if you need multiple languages for one auto attendant, you'll need to create multiple auto attendants with multiple numbers. The nice thing is that you can transfer between auto attendants. So you can have a default greeting in English and say for Spanish, press 1, for Dutch, press 2, for English, please stay on the line. It's a female system voice, uses text to speech, and you can do custom greetings and menu prompts. We have a total of 27 languages available. For the speech recognition, we recognize 14 languages. You can disable speech recognition. You can always do DTMF. It supports voice commands, custom voice commands, and it allows for hands-free navigation. So some of the language support that we have, just gonna leave the slide here. So we do have dial out number suppression. This is a new feature that we added in August. It basically is a call on behalf. This means that the outbound call for a user will have the auto attendant or call queue display number. This must be configured for each call queue and auto attendant if you want to use that, and you can configure it using PowerShell. So first you enable the calling line identity, and then you assign the calling line identity to a specific person, in this case Amos Marble. So what do you need to know before you go deploy? Auto Attendant will search the entire tenant by default. If you need to exclude people, you should definitely do that. And you must have a service number. A service number is a special type of number. Each customer has the ability to have a limited supply, and a service number basically handles a large amount of concurrent calls, whereas a normal user number only handles one. A service number can be requested in a similar number as a user number. You just specify that it's a service number. They can be toll and toll free. Toll meaning that the caller bears the cost, and toll free means that if someone calls you, that you're paying for that person to call you. If you want toll free, you do require to have PSTN consumption billing configured. If you want to know more about service numbers, you can go to aka.ms/sa-org-aa-sn. So how do you deploy Auto Attendant? So the prerequisites for your tenant are you must have E5 or E3 with Cloud PBX. You're not required to have PSTN calling or PSTN conferencing. PSTN consumption is an optional feature that you can have. If you have this, you can configure toll-free service numbers. PSTN consumption charges will occur for all of the toll-free calls that you're enabling. So the deployment scenario. You have your service number, you assign that to an auto attendant, and then you can enable search by name or use DTMF. So how do you get a service number? You go to the Skype Business Admin Center, you go to phone number, and you request a new service number. It's not the same as a PSTN calling or a user number. You must acquire them. You can port service numbers to online. That basically means that you create a new port order and you ask for your existing numbers to be migrated as a service number to online. And you cannot assign numbers from Cloud Connector Edition to your Auto Attendant or call queue. So once you have the service number bought or requested, you can assign your service number, which can be toll and toll free. You set your language and speech recognition. You set if you want to have an operator or not. There's a flexible call flow because you can say, well, whether or not you want to disconnect or redirect a call if they meet certain conditions. You get to set your menu options and your dial by name. You must also set your dial scope to limit search. So let's take a look at business hours first. So they're observed according to the time zone selected. So if you set this, so this makes it easier for you if you're in the US and you want to configure Auto Attendant, let's say for the Netherlands, you don't have to do all kinds of time zone calculations. You just say open from 9 to 12 and you set the time zone to Dutch. You can select custom to define your own business hours, and you can set the time in 30-minute intervals. There are multiple breaks possible. For example, in this example, you can see that between 12 and 1 and between 3:30 and 4:30 there is a break. Your dial scope actually limits your search area, and you can include or exclude specific groups and people. So you can say, I want to include all of my users and I want to exclude my CEOs. This means that people can search for your online users, but they will not be able to find your CEO. So how do you redirect a call? So your call can be disconnected or redirected. You can select an online Skype business user, a call queue, or an auto attendant. What if you wanted to redirect a call to a voicemail? Well, you redirect a call to an online user. You log in as this online user once and you set to forward all calls to voicemail. So some of the menu options. This will give callers directions on how to reach the destination. So you can play a menu options prompt and you can either select an audio file or you can create a custom prompt. You can then enable dial by name and you can add menu options. For example, press 0 for operator, press 1 for sales, and this will then transfer you to a call queue that has the sales department. Press 2 for an auto attendant that has the services submenu. So in the menu prompt, you must take care to instruct callers on how to navigate your system. So you can create a prompt with text-to-speech. If that's not good enough, you can actually upload your own audio file in WAV, MP3 or WMA, and it can only be 5 megabytes. You should create it in a language that is set for the auto attendant. It will not be auto-translated. So if you set the language to Spanish, you must write text-to-speech in Spanish. If you change your menu options, you must update your prompt. So customizing your menu options, it's an interactive flow to guide callers. So out of the box, you have dial by name, you have an operator that you can map to any key, a repeat that's fixed to star, and back that's fixed to pound. So your custom options, you can set 0 to 9 for any option. You can actually have, let's say in this example, 0 for operator, 1 for sales, and 2 for services. I could also have 8 for mechanics or whatever I want. How to add and remove an option? Just press the button, it will go blue for an active option, and it will go back white for an inactive option. As soon as you press the button, a row is created, you set your transfer destination type and your destination target. If you want to remove it, press the button again. So how to create custom voice commands. So every menu option is a voice command. So if you type in select 1 for sales, that actually makes sales a custom voice command. Your name can have multiple words. So it can be sales department 1 with a maximum of 64 characters. The key itself is also a voice command. So how do you operate Auto Attendant? In the Skype for Business admin panel, you can open the call routing tab and then you can select your Auto Attendant. Your Auto Attendant will show the details like the phone number, the greeting, and the main menu. You can edit from there or you can press the test button to test it. Once you press test, it opens Skype for Business and tries to call the Auto Attendant so you can hear what's configured. If you have any issues, since this is an online managed service, you should open a ticket in the Office 365 Admin Center. How to migrate to online Auto Attendants. So first of all, you should take an inventory of your on-premises Auto Attendants. Does the Auto Attendant that we provide you from the cloud provide all the functionality you need? Can you adapt or should you wait? After you've done your inventory, you should port your existing numbers to online. Please note that this can cause a little bit of downtime. You will be informed throughout the stages. If you want to stage all of the Auto Attendants, you can get temporary service numbers to at least create and configure the Auto Attendant. With that, I wanted to give you some summary and resources to continue your learning. So we learned today that this is for Skype for Business Online only. An Auto Attendant can be your virtual receptionist. It does require Cloud PBX licensed users and it can be used to route calls to groups and individuals. They can route to Skype for Business Online users with Cloud PBX licensing. PCN calling is not a requirement and we will keep on working to release additional scenarios. Resources, call queues training, you found them at aka.ms/sa-ccq. More trainings at the Skype Operations Framework. A little bit about service numbers, Skype feedback and preview. We really want your feedback. You can find the TechNet link for Auto Attendant. And if you wanted to know the latest updates on call queues and Auto Attendants, you can go to that aka.ms URL below. There's also an active soft community where you can speak to me and other creators of the Skype Operations Framework to help you out in your day-to-day activities. Go to aka.ms/soft-blog to get the latest updates from our blog. With that, I hope this was helpful